Good morning. Welcome to Randy's Corner, and I'm your host, Randy Clark. And as you all know, beautiful Tuesday morning. Might get a little rough weather-wise later this afternoon, but it sure is pretty out there. And guess what? Today's the first day of the Marble Festival. And as y'all know, if you've been watching the show for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been bringing people on that has a lot to do with the Marble Festival. First, we had Dr. Ted Spears. He is in charge of the Marble Festival. He's chairman of the Arts Council. Wonderful man. I love him to death. And he told us all about the process. And let me tell you, this Marble Festival we're having, Dr. Ted and his staff, they work on it all year long. He's even planning today of what's going to happen next year. So thank you, Dr. Ted, for all the things that you do for the Marble Festival. And then a couple weeks ago, I had our local sculptor, Craig Brown. He come on and told the side of what the sculptors do. So the sculptor's perspective of the Marble Festival. And then last week, I had Sarah Owens on, which she has a lot to do with the Marble Festival. The library is a humongous part of the Marble Festival. And today, what I'm going to tell you about is us volunteers. I guess you can see my vest. We're ready to get started this morning. And this vest comes from AM3, one of our quarries out here in Sylacauga. And I'm just going to tell you what this morning what us volunteers do. Now, volunteering out there will be myself, Robert Campbell, Patty Peters, Stephanie Hickman, and I can't leave out Dr. Tara Douglas. She is a big part of the Marble Festival. They've been running around like crazy here for the last several months trying to get everything organized. And thank you all for what you do. And let me tell you a little bit this morning about what us volunteers do. We're down there all 11 days. So if you see the ones with the bright vest on, we're the volunteers. And what we do is we greet the visitors as they come in. Even if you're not a out-of-town visitor, when you come up, first of all, I'm going to tell you just a little bit of history about our marble quarries. I won't go into detail, but you know, as most of you know, our vein is 34, 36 miles long. It's 1.5 miles wide, and it goes down to 400 foot deep. And this is our white marble vein. This is the whitest marble in the world right here in Sylacauga, Alabama. And then that's about all the history that I'm going to tell, but I can give you a further history lesson if you come out to the observation point out here on the Fayetteville Highway. I'll be going out there with groups, probably myself and Robert. We'll be going out there and we'll go into detail some of the things that happened. Now, the way I got this history on the marble quarries is we have 3 main books at our library here. And I read all those 3 books, and they're all a little bit different. Of course, we don't really know what happened back in 1839, but I'm going by these books, and I put them all together. That's where I get my presentation. And I'll go into detail at the observation point, and we'll talk about the Gant's Quarry. You know, where the name Gant come from. Andrew Jackson, when they came here back in the early 1800s, Dr. Edward Gant was his physician. So when they came through here and Dr. Gant was interested in minerals and the quarries and all that. So he came back after the war, and the first quarry that he opened was in Talladega. Well, it wasn't exactly what he was looking for. And then somebody told him, says, have you ever seen that white rock down in Sylacauga? So he came down here, and next thing you know, that's where Gant's Quarry started, and it's out there today. And from what I understand, we have, you know, it changed hands, and it closed a few times in the 1800s and early 1900s, and because of the economy and some other things. And But from what I understand, we still got 200 years of mining out there. So those cores was there before we got here, and they'll be here after we're gone. So many, many, many generations to come will be able to benefit from the white marble quartz. And then the sculptors. That's the next thing I'm going to tell you about. After today, they start coming in this morning and setting their tables up, and they'll pick out the rock. So what happens when they first get here, they go over to the library and they get them a packet. And very generous packet. A lot of the local businesses in town is offering things to them, giving them discounts, and so on. So what they do when they first get here is we give them a table to set up. They have a wooden table out there to set their piece on that they're going to sculpt. So we have a big trailer sitting out by the railroad tracks, and it's full of all different sizes of rocks. You know, today the way that we get the rock out of the ground is we use dynamite. So it comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. So what happens is that we carry them out there to the trailer, and some of them walk right up and they say, I want that piece right there. So what we'll do is we'll put their initials on it, and then the city, the street department, they're generous enough to send 2 or 3 men out there, and they help us out to start with. They keep the power going, they keep the air going, and they also bring a little forklift out there. So whichever rock they pick out, we got their initials on, they put it up and carry it over there and put it on their table. Now, with that being said, I've seen some of them walk out there. Right away, they say the one that they want. And I have seen some of them stand there for 2 or 3 hours studying the different sizes of the rocks. And you know, naturally, if you get one more to the shape of the vision that you got in your head, the less cutting and the less work you're going to have to do on it. So they're all different. I'm going to know the names of every sculptor out there. I'm going to know where they come from, and I'll try to get a little bit of their story. And all of them are just super nice. And only thing that we ask you to do, if they're over there busy, you know, we have 3 different kinds of sculptors that come to town. Some of them like the old chisel and hammer, which is great. That's my favorite ones. Some of them likes to use air tools. We have air tanks set up for them. And some of them likes to use power tools. So if they're over there real busy chipping away and all this, we ask you not to go over there. If you'll just wait just a few minutes, they'll be through, and they'll be glad to talk to you and tell you what they're going to sculpt, and just all about themselves, where they're from. Super, super nice people. Okay, and then we're going to talk about, then I'll tell you, all the visitors that come to town, this is what I consider my main job. My main job at the Marble Festival not only is giving you a little history about the marble quarries, and not only about telling you about the sculptors, but my job is also to introduce you, welcome you, and sell you on Sylacauga. You know, here in the last few years, we had some visitors that come to town that just fell in love with our town, and they have moved here, bought a home. They spend money right here in Sylacauga. So that is one of my main goals, is to sell Sylacauga and just let them know the beauty's already here. I just let them know some things they can go to. For instance, the main place that I send them is to the library. And some of our local folks, if you haven't been in our library, you need to go. We have around 50 pieces of sculpted marble that's finished that's over there. And we also have a sales room during the Marble Festival. You can go back in the sales room and you can find everything from a little bit of money all the way to a lot of money. So there are all different things in there, and it's not only marble. There's not only a few different colors of marble in there. Most of it is white, but they might have a different color base on it. And some of the sculpted pieces that these sculptors bring with them to sell, they might be from other marble quarries that's a different color than our beautiful, purest white marble we got right here in Sylacauga. And also there might be some wood pieces in there. We have a couple of wood carvers that comes, and they just sit around out there, say while their husband or boyfriend is, or girlfriend might be over there sculpting a piece of marble. They might be over in the corner sitting there sculpting on a piece of wood. Just beautiful stuff. You've got to come out there. And also, besides the library, I also send them to the museum. If you haven't been to our museum, you need to go because there's so much stuff and there's so much history. And Judy Green, she does a wonderful job with the museum over there. And I also send them to the Gants Quarry Post Office, which is right behind the museum. And it has a long history too. There's some things in there. And it's going to be open during the Marble Festival. It'll actually be open during museum hours. So make sure you go out there and check out the old post office. I send them to the observation point. That way we can go back in history. I go back and I tell them, a lot of you might know it, but at one time there was derricks out there. That's how they moved around. Of course, now, we got modern machinery that does it. But I also, and one of the main things that I focus on, anything a visitor might want, I'm going to send them there. If they want something to eat, I got some places to send them, no matter what they like. If they like barbecue, if they like home-cooked meals, if they like coffee, whatever they want. If they like fast food, we got those too. And if they need to buy a T-shirt, if they want to buy a T-shirt that's got Sylacauga on them, I got a couple places to send them that sells these shirts. If they got a cracked windshield on the way up here, I send them down to Sylacauga Glass. All of our local businesses, I've got a list of places that I send them no matter what they want, what their needs are. And so with all that being said, y'all come out, look for these vests. We'll introduce you to the sculptors. And with all that being said, if you see some strange faces in town, now we're expecting between 3,000 and 4,000 visitors to come through Sylacauga in the next 11 days. And they're going to spend their money right here in Sylacauga. So if you see some strange faces in the next 11 days, give them a big old Sylacauga welcome because I love my hometown. I know you love your hometown. And let's welcome them to Sylacauga and make sure that we let them know to come back. And come on out there to Central Park across from Bluebell. And Randy Clark, Robert Campbell, and Patty and Stephanie, we'll be looking for you. We'll see you next week.